What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cervantes Podcast. Joining me today to discuss photography, capturing the 2021 Presidential Inauguration, taking pictures of high-profile celebrities like Big Sean and Emmy Award-winning actress and model Karrueche, recreating President Barack Obama's portrait by artist Kehinde Wiley, and his career aspirations is photographer, member of the Epsilon Sigma chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and Bowie State University alum with a bachelor's degree in biology, Mikael Selassie. How are you doing, Mikael?
I'm doing great, Cervantes. Thank you for having me.
For you. How did you first get into photography?
Well, my journey into photography was honestly an amazing, and fortunate circumstance. I was always creative at heart growing up, but I never had the means to create. I was almost like an artist without a paintbrush. I finger painted with using, iPhone or something like minimal, but my older frat brother, when I crossed into Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated at Bowie State University, gifted me a camera, and his only request was to take pictures of him. So I was almost like, okay, now I have no excuse. And then it all started, and people just, even before that, people just were telling me like, oh, you should do this, you should be a creative. And I was always an athlete. So I was always hesitant to jump over into creative side. Is like, okay, I want to be a professional athlete. I want to be a professional runner at one point in my life. And I was also a biology major. It was so many different aspirations I had, but the creative always kind of was on the back end, especially, growing up. I didn't know what was out there and the opportunities and even the money. So I was always hesitant. So, but being given that camera gave me that push to like, okay, why not? Why not try? And then things started opening up for me. And yeah, like it's an amazing, like, fortunate circumstance. And like, by the grace of God, and God, like, somebody saw potential in me.
No, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's interesting because like you have a degree in biology. Did you like, is photography still a hobby, or did you put photography at the forefront and biology is kind of like a side thing, like that you might get into later?
Yeah, so I was always like battling like two sides of me. Like, I'm very technical and analytical, but I also have this creative side of me. So it's like I try to balance both and to like give me a sort of like fulfill me in both different way in both ways. But now it's kind of like photography is in the forefront, and I like apply like my analytical mind to the photography while also maintaining the creative. Um, that's honestly why I've learned and like grew in photography so much, because I can also see it from both ends. I drew, I was an artist, like I painted. So
Wow.
all of those creative aspects plus the technical side, the mathematical, like the physics side, or like, okay, this is how light operates. And it's like so much more to photography that also needed than just the creative side. You kind of, it's not even kind of, you need to have an analytical mind. There's numbers involved, even though you may not think about it and things may come and flow. You need to have that, that left and right brain side. So I think it worked out for me, and now photography is at the forefront more than biology. And honestly, I'm not really in the biology field anymore. Yeah, it's not really in my
Okay.
memento. It's kind of like out the door.
Okay. No, but you're right with that. You're right with that because when it
Yeah.
comes to like editing, like when you go into Photoshop and like Creative Cloud and all like the dimensions and all that stuff, like I know about that. So it's definitely not just creative side and like marketing. You got to market yourself, your portfolio that you got in the background, if everybody keeps. So that's
Absolutely.
really dope. And you never know, like maybe you have a degree and that's something, we always say they can never take away from you. Your like knowledge is power. So maybe later down on the line, you could maybe become a bio teacher and like do something, you get your master's, maybe do something with bio. So you never know, but you have a good plan B and you're really passionate about your plan A. So that's really dope.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are there any photographers or filmmakers that you look up to or draw inspiration from?
What's interesting is I recently saw an artist, like it was yesterday. I was at my studio with a friend, and we were looking at like a lot of videographers and creatives, and somebody that really has been standing out to me is Gibson Hazard. If you are may not be aware of him, but he's created like these recap videos for major artists, and he's like applied the 3D blending and graphics into his videos. So you may see like an actual, like, I think for a Drake video he did like a scorpion on the Hollywood sign, and it was like a legit graphic, and it was like a moving thing, and like the scorpion
Wow.
ran all the way to the like actual arena, and he jumped on stage, and all of a sudden you see this footage of Drake. So it's like, wow, that's inspiring, because he came into the game and switched everything up. And it's not necessarily people weren't doing that before, but he did it at such a caliber that people are like, okay, how do I learn how to do that? So he applied like different elements into his videography that made him stand out. He applied the graphics and the 3D blending, and like to make moving 3D objects is the wave now, especially with NFTs. It's such a huge market. So he's really been pushing me to like really
Think outside the
think of
box.
think outside the box, and really just, you know, not be and just inspire me to not be afraid to go into different mediums of art, or different kinds of different sort of like different platforms, or different sort of places in photography. Like, okay, like you saw this recreation of Obama that was shot on a green screen. So it starts making me think, okay, I can do that too. I can do some real creative stuff. I can apply 3D rendering, or I can put somebody on the moon, or edit somebody to be in, somewhere they're not, and just
Right.
really explore my imagination.
In an interview back in August of
Yeah.
2020 with ITV News, a British television program, Misan Harriman, the first Black photographer to shoot a British Vogue cover, told ITV that when people look at his images, he wants them to feel like there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and we should all have empathy in
Mm.
our hearts. What do you wish people would take away when they see your work?
Wow, that's beautiful. I want people to feel full of life and to be inspired. A lot of times I shoot, people of color, Black people, and just in general, like people who have a story to tell. So I want people to be inspired and full of life when they see these color. Even if I shoot in an image black and white, it's, you still feel that energy, that life in the photo. And I want people to just feel in full. I want them to understand, like, you have the ability to make a person a better individual, a community a better network, and the world a better place, just by looking at art and beauty, and looking at my work. I want somebody to feel like, okay, his work, it speaks to me. I want to go make work that speaks to people. I want to communicate with the world through my art and make them full of life, so they in turn can create more work that inspires others. So it's a domino effect, and I think that's what I want people to get from my work. What I want it to say to people: just create and feel good, and be full of life, and just be you.
I love that. I love that because you do take pictures of other things, but from what I've
Hmm.
noticed, it's Black centered. It seems very
Yeah.
like black young people like having fun or like
Hmm.
feeling themselves, and that's very good to see because I think often, especially in the day
Hmm.
and age that we're in, and the
Hmm.
era that we're in, it's very, we always hear like a lot of bad stuff on the news, and like, this person unfortunately is being killed or harassed and all this stuff that happens to our community. So it's kind of nice to go on your timeline and like, oh, like
Hmm.
Mikael just posted, oh, like this is a great photo of Black people having fun, or
Hmm.
this athlete, like it's like a photo shoot or whatever. So that's like, it's
Yeah.
good to see, and I'm sure it makes me feel good. I'm sure it makes other people feel good, and for you to see the response and
Yeah.
seeing certain platforms repost it, and then it's
Hmm.
like, who took this picture, or this picture's fine. I'm sure that makes you feel good.
Wow. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
love.
In a 2020 CBS This Morning special, photographer Andre D. Wagner said in his essay that it seems to me that one of the beautiful aspects about art is that it places us face to face with our history. In America, we want to sweep our history underneath the rug, but any real work of art won't let you. As a Black photographer, do you
Mm,
feel a responsibility to incorporate positive Black images and social justice awareness in your work?
absolutely. And I think that's my purpose, like capturing that Black excellence. creating, and we're all vessels of God. So, our time on this earth is finite. Our time with God is infinite. I know that, that I'm not going to be on this earth forever. I want my work to be immortalized, and I want it to be immortalized with something I care about. And I want our people to be at the forefront. I want us to get what we deserve as far as being in the public eye and creating, and just being, just being shown and showcased in the way we deserve to be. And I'm going to be a main advocate for our people and in my way of art and just showcasing. And I feel as though I'm doing my part, feel very fulfilled. And, I'm not perfect, but I'm authentic. I want to be my authentic self at all times. I don't want to read off of a script or just be, I want people to see the raw, true us and know that we, are very huge proponents of the culture, the music, fashion, entertainment, math, science, every single facet.
Right, not
Like,
just
we
not
have our
just like
hands
the sports and entertainment. We're everywhere, and I think
everywhere.
some people don't realize that. Yeah,
Black is beautiful, man. Literally,
right.
like
I've
we
noticed.
do it all.
Right, right. And I've noticed
Mm-hmm,
like most of your photos, it is positive, and we do love to
mm-hmm,
see that. That is important. Do you stay away from maybe like photography of like protests? Is that like not really
mm.
your focus? Or have you done it but it's not really your focus?
Oh, I've absolutely done it. A lot of times when I go to protests and things of that nature, I've gone to a lot of stuff at night, and I haven't necessarily. And when I go to the ones in the morning, I like to actually advocate. I like
Okay,
to photograph. I photograph a lot of protests and things of that nature.
okay.
I actually posted a few. Um, like sometimes the wording in the background may have not have been, it had a lot of profanity in it and maybe some slurs that I didn't want on my social media. So
Right,
it was just
right,
like I had to take it down, and I just to be politically correct, unfortunately. But
right.
I definitely photographed a couple protests, especially with what was going on recently. And even growing up, like, and there was we've grown through history at this point. So it's like I've seen so much. I may not have had a camera at that time, but it's like everything is internalized. Like I remember, certain points in time when things have happened. So anytime
Right.
now, like something happens, and I make sure I'm there to document it. This is history. Like I have to be there. Like I have to do this. I feel as though in my heart I wouldn't feel right.
Right. And even if, no, I like that. I like that because I think even though you might
Mm-hmm,
not have taken a picture of every single, maybe like, police brutality
mm-hmm,
incident or like a protest, that stays with you. That stays with us. And you're going to carry that with the next part. Like if you do decide to do a project, based on Black Lives Matter, like you're gonna take that into consideration, or even if it doesn't have to do with Black Lives Matter, you're still gonna keep that in the back of your mind, like, okay, I'm a Black man in America. I've seen a lot of stuff.
mm-hmm,
This is how this is my take on it, and then go take a picture of
mm-hmm,
that, go take photos of that. So yeah, I
mm-hmm.
agree with that. To ask you, among your works, which one is your favorite so far?
Ooh, that's a great question. What I like to say is my favorite shot is my next shot. I'll say that just because I know, like I always like thinking of what's next. I'm a visionary. A lot of times I'm like when I'm shooting, I'm thinking, okay, how am I gonna put, like the pieces together? Even when I'm doing a photo shoot, I'm thinking of my next one, or like what am I gonna create next? So it's like I always think forward.
I
And
like
I think,
that.
of course, like looking back as well, I really I always will say like one of my greatest like like I would say event type of work was the inauguration. There's nothing that makes me feel like I feel so fulfilled just being a part of history. Like one time, like the image was used by Congress. Like I can't even put into perspective how I felt
Wow.
like
Okay, I didn't
when
know that.
Congress posted on their Twitter. Like I was like, what?
Wow.
Like me being in that room and being in that space and just creating and doing what I love, and also being, compensated for it. You can't. I'm being compensated to create history. Like I can't really fathom, or even what I just said, maybe 3, 4 years ago, I've never could. I couldn't even imagine it. But again, being a visionary and like having that faith that everything that I'm doing is gonna make sense one day made it feel so much better. So
No, yeah, that was
yeah,
when I saw that, I was like, wow, he's big time. He's
like
big
Joe
time
by
because
like, and this is it's crazy,
that's
bro.
the first, black female vice president.
Southeast
Went to
Asian,
HBCU, Jamaican, South Asian. That's like that's historical. That's historical, and like for you to be there and for you to take that picture, and then for it to be used, then I'm sure it went viral on the gram. Like that's amazing. I'm sure that made you feel good. Are you
yeah.
when great things like that happen? Are you able to like take in the moment and like be I don't know if grateful is the right word, or maybe it is the
Yeah.
right word, but like taking that moment, like, oh, like this is special, like I'm dope,
Hmm.
I'm feeling myself right now. Are you able to do that?
Well, at that moment in time, let me say for the inauguration, it was January, it was freezing cold. I didn't really, I already knew, I was shivering crazy. Like it was like insanely cold. You know, I had NBC to the left of me. I had, you know, the huge publications to left and right of me. It was
Right.
scary. Like the Washington, it was tiers of all these publications, and we're just talking to them, and then we're like, this, this guy with this little camera. But
You got
it
the
it just
shot.
was like surreal. It's a feeling like, wow, how? And I think I think when she was walking down and like waved to us, um we were yelling her name. That's why I got that picture of her waving.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's
I
like
thought
we
she just
yelled her
so
name.
happened to look.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. We
Wow.
yelled.
Okay,
We
okay.
was like, congratulations. It was like she looked towards, see that picture right there. It was, yeah,
Yep.
like her waving. Like that's insane. Like how
Wow.
I
Wow, that's
like
crazy.
some if we weren't like super hyped to be there, I may not have got that picture. So
It might have just been like a
sometimes,
regular shot of just her walking with her
mhm,
family.
yeah,
Yeah,
even
no,
just
that
to answer, I was just super like grateful for everything. Like I look back at like everything that happened, the obstacles and trials and tribulations, everything, and it helps me really feel like, wow, everything makes sense. Like it's not my timing, it's God. So I really put everything happened for a reason, and I felt so fulfilled because I felt like everything was leading up to like that moment. Like I've shot a lot of Howard students, so it was coming back full circle in a greater, of
the
course.
ultimate Howard
Yeah, it
alum.
was so strange. I've always photographed. Shout out to the Alpha chapter at AKA at Howard Universities, like how AKA is at Howard University. They always put me on. They always supported me, always showed love, and it goes a long way because it feels good when like it's like, wow, I just shot. It it's not like I was always authentic to it. I was always shooting at Howard. I was always shooting the fraternities, the sororities, and always around that. And coming from Bowie State, it's like, wow, I'm just and always I've shot the HBCU conferences, as you can see, like behind me, like I've
Right.
shot
And
huge
I
events.
assumed that you went to Howard because all your Howard work.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, like, do you go? So
yeah,
yeah,
this was at the HBCU conference, in all
that's
the
dope.
HBCU kings and queens. So I've always been, I always done things that were authentic to me and they felt right. So that felt so right, and it was like, wow, this is really, it fits so well into what I want out of life, and it's an amazing feeling, bro. I can't even
Yeah,
explain it.
yeah. And I think even though you are like go, go, go on to the next, I think sometimes it is beneficial to like take a step back and be like, you know what, like I did do that. Let me feel
Hmm.
myself a little bit because that's a big is that your biggest like project to date so far?
Yes. Well, honestly, recently I've well, it's just things have moved in a very upward direction from that moment. A lot
Okay.
of course, I got a lot of like deals, brand deals. Recently, I worked with Remy Martin. I've worked with,
Nice.
Warner Music. I
Nice.
work with it's so many different, and like Interscope, like so many different platforms and labels, and of course that was in the political field, but I also like shoot a lot of music, and I think I think a lot of people like know me from the Chris Brown photo that was taken in the club. Like
Right,
to
right.
go, the range is crazy, and it's like and I shoot a lot of skincare product stuff. So it's like I don't necessarily have my niche per se, but it's like right now I'm just doing what I love and filling it out, filling everything like what I want to do. I do love the creative conceptual stuff, as you can see as well. You see this guy on a
Right.
horse in medieval times, but it was shot in the studio. So the range is really insane for me late. Like I've never really thought I could do it in each, you know, dynamic of photography or discipline of photography in the capacity I'm doing it and the caliber I'm doing it. But it's like once you understand lighting and once you understand the foundations, you could really pick and choose where you want to go.
Right. And it just makes your portfolio just more diverse. Like, oh, he's done this, he's done that. He knows how to have a
Yeah.
story, you know, because your photos, have you done videos or is it more photos?
What's crazy is I'll get into that a little bit more, but I recently produced a video for like a major music video, like behind the scenes
Oh,
of
nice.
a major music video. It hasn't come out yet. I could speak about it, who I worked with, whatnot, but I don't want to get in too deep with it. But I
Okay,
definitely,
okay. I respect
it's
that. Yeah.
insane. Yeah, like I really been in
That's
the places that
amazing.
I always wanted to be in. I'm now in that room, so it's scary.
That's amazing. Can you share the artist?
Oh, so I've worked with my favorite artists actually, J. Cole, and I was also, like a hometown hero, Wale. So it's like it just feels amazing. So
Wow, no,
yeah,
I'm excited for that to come out. I'm excited for that because that's
definitely.
amazing, you know,
The
like
song,
people.
oh wait, the song is actually out. It's called Poke It Out. They
Okay,
actually,
okay.
if you look at Wale's page, you'll see a picture of J. Cole and Wale. I took that photo.
It was a collab with the two of them.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. Like being able to work with your favorite artists, people who put out good content always, like that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm
hmm
excited for what's to come.
Yeah, the song came out yesterday at 3 p.m. So
And you were
yeah,
in
like
charge of the music
of
video or behind the scenes?
I produced the behind the scenes for it, and I shot the them side by side for I believe it was Spotify. So it's like, that image is being used and it's going to be throughout history, regardless of what platform is being posted on. It's history. It's like that lives
Right.
on
People are gonna
forever.
pick
It's
that
I'm
up.
immortalized. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy,
That's
bro.
gonna be in the biopic, I'm sure, the
It's
documentary on his
insane.
life that for sure will come one day. So that's amazing. Kudos
It
to
feels
you for sure,
amazing.
bro.
Thank you, Brody,
I
for
wanted to
sure.
ask you, what does photography mean to you?
Ooh, photography is to me is life. Like it's everything. I'm fulfilled by it in so many different ways, but it's like it's a figure of expression. It's a way to communicate my ideas. It's a way to immortalize myself and put myself in a position to live forever. It's a way I can communicate my ideas and push forward the culture and the community. And again, like it's help inspire and create that domino effect. I may not be the one to change the world, but I like Tupac said, I may be the one to spark the mind of the person who will. I know I
Facts.
butchered that quote, but you know, I just feel as though photography, like, it gives me that ability. So it's like for me it's life, because I'm acting on so many, like I'm doing so much by just picking up a camera and photographing certain things. It goes a long way. And I think, like, to be a king or queen, you got to act on it. You can't just be a placeholder. You can't ask for your crown. You shouldn't have to ask for it. You just act on it. You're a king in that facet, a queen in that facet, by just acting on it and not being a placeholder. So it's like, to me, like that, like photographing and shooting, it's like I feel as though, like, I feel like I'm a king in my art, because it's like I'm creating for the people, like I'm serving the people. And a king should not be, on a high and mighty pedestal. He serves his people. So it's like I feel like I'm a vessel just to create, and I'm always in my authentic self. I like to create what I love and what I want, and I'm never gonna fold, like, no matter what. Like, I don't want to,
Right.
you understand where I'm
Yeah,
coming
yeah. No,
from.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's about service. At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
there's this quote on Instagram, like the biggest flex in life is
Mm-hmm.
how many lives you can positively impact. Like I saw some quote about that. And that's so true. Like that's the reason for this podcast. That's what I want to do as my
Yeah,
career. Like I want to create stories about, people and like our people specifically. And we're more than just slavery. We're more than just colonization and civil rights
absolutely.
movement and Obama. Like it's more than just that. Like
I
we
saying
are
you.
well-rounded, non-monolithic people, and
Mhm,
our stories deserve to be heard, especially young people too. That's why the majority of my guests have been young so far.
mhm,
Because I
mhm.
think oftentimes our voices are kind of like, oh, like he's young. What is he talking
Yeah,
about? And I think it's important, like no, like you've accomplished a lot. You are
yeah.
young, but you've accomplished a lot. And your career already is propelling and taking you to different
Mhm,
levels. So I think it's important to, you know, people to hear our stories, listen to our stories, and
mhm,
yeah, just to continue and to inspire. And it's not about me. It's not about just you. It's about like, what can you do with those photos that can like change the world or
mhm.
change one person that might change the world? Like you said, and like Tupac said. So I completely agree with that, and
Yeah.
I love what you said, for sure.
Thank you, bro. That's love. I honestly, love what you're doing, and thank you again for having me here. I know we're in the middle of the podcast, but I really do appreciate what you're doing for the community as well. It goes a long way, and
Thank
a lot
you.
of
Thank you.
times people build their skill set without their mindset, and then they abuse their talents, and then they do these things that are not aligned with what they're trying to do. So I think if you build your mindset before your skill set, you'll understand the responsibility you have when creating, and with
Yeah.
great power comes great responsibility in my mind. And going back to my Spider-Man vibes, but yeah, like you get me,
Yeah.
like
I believe that. I believe that's what it's all
for
about.
sure.
Like how
Hmm.
can you? What's your legacy gonna be? How are you gonna leave your mark on the world, even if it's small?
Hmm.
Like how are you gonna, impact society? So I agree with
It's the
that for sure.
butterfly effect for sure. Like the most little thing can, this me opening up this water bottle and could change it. Little do we know what. Let me not get into that though. You get me? Like,
Yeah. No,
little,
everything
it's the
everything
little
has a
things.
message. Whether it's high
Hmm.
key, low key, everything has a message for sure. For
Hmm.
sure.
Like for
From
sure.
the looks of your Instagram account, I see you have met multi-Grammy award-winning artists Megan Thee Stallion, rappers
Mhm.
Lil Durk and Big Sean. Do you have a favorite music artist or celebrity that you've met or worked with?
I honestly were big fans of like a lot of these artists, especially first starting out. I was just excited, and even now I still get excited. Just also, honestly though, working with J. Cole recently was my biggest
Okay.
feat. Like that's been one of my favorite artists. I felt as though I kind of grew with him. Like I remember 106 in Park, like his one of his songs debuted, and I was like, wow, this I didn't really know what he was gonna be, but I over time I was like, wow, like I remember like when that video came out, and it's like in a lot of ways, I feel as though he's our modern day Jay-Z. And
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily put compare him or anything, but that's how I feel like, and just being able to capture him, I just it holds weight to me. Like if it doesn't, I'm sure people are like, oh my God, you work with da da da, da," but it's like to me, it just feels like it was gonna come because just listening to him and being a fan of him, like I always kind of manifested it. So it's like when it
I was just
came,
about to
I
say
was I
that.
was prepared for it. Yeah, like I was waiting for the moment, and I visualized the moment. I manifested the moment. I became what needed to. I became the person that I needed to be to actually conceptualize and to act on it. So it's like, yeah, like sometimes we visualize it, but we also have to act on it and meet God halfway. Or you're like, God, you may think you're ready for it or this opportunity, but God's like, no, not yet. Just wait. So it's like I waited for my time, and when it happened, I knew it was the right time. So that moment was amazing, bro, and I can't really express how I felt. Of course, I had to act professional and whatnot, but
Right,
I got
right. You
my picture.
can't
I got
like
my
go be a groupie, acting like a groupie.
yeah.
No, yeah,
Definitely.
that's dope. That's dope. Cause I've seen like like Karrueche, the Chris Brown photos and all that, and the J. Cole yet to come. I'm just like, wow, like what is it? I was just thinking like what is it like to meet people that we only see on Instagram or music videos, people that we've grown up listening to, like being the soundtrack to our, young lives. So but yeah, you gotta keep it professional, but I'm sure it's like wow, like I'm actually doing this, like seeing you on TV to like shaking your hand in person. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, am I
It's
dreaming?
insane. Like,
So that's
wow.
dope. Have
It's
you
it can. Hmm.
have you how they say like never meet your heroes? Um
Hmm.
have you have you had a negative experience? You don't have to share the person's name, but like have you met
Mm.
someone and you expected them to act a certain way and they're kind of like giving you the cold shoulder or like not as upbeat as they appear to be?
You see, yeah, but it's very like I'm very fortunate that like the sets that I worked on and everything like has been amazing. Like it felt like a family. It felt so enriching. Like to be around these people who've accomplished so much and they can be up on their pedestal and high and mighty. But like earlier I said, like a king serves his people or a queen serves her people. That was very much what was shown in my interaction with these artists and these people. So it's like, wow, this is real. Like these people, like I was like, wow, like when I get to the point where I'm on, I had that sort of platform and influence. Even now, like I'm already that person. It's like I'm gonna maintain that. I don't ever want to switch up, and I will always want to show love and be that, someone who serves. So just I personally really haven't had any bad experiences or anything, but
Okay.
I've had instances where like I wasn't necessarily treated as, in a respectful manner. But sometimes, of course, I speak on things and I always make it known and I have the conversation with that person. And if it's somebody high and mighty that I may not be able to talk to, I definitely take a mental note of it and kind of put
Right.
it in, in the subconscious because I know, okay, well, this person acts this way. And it's like I'm also very understanding. So I know, I'm not in that person's shoes. I don't know what they go through. And I think that's what it really
Oh, that's a nice way to look at it. That's a
yeah.
very considerate way to look at it. Like
Mm-hmm.
oh damn, like I'm I've been nothing but respectful and they're
Yeah.
they're giving me the cold shoulder. Like what did I say? What did I do? But again, you don't know what people you don't know what people go through behind closed doors
Mm-hmm.
and the demons that they're dealing with, and maybe they just got
Mm-hmm.
some bad news, So I think that's a very respectful, mature way to think about it. Think about like those disrespectful occurrences, or weird
Yeah.
occurrences. But yeah, that's gonna happen, because some of these
Mm-hmm.
people are not always as nice as they appear to be. Because I think
Yeah.
we put people on a pedestal, and then we expect them, I guess, to act a
Mm-hmm.
certain way, and it's like when they don't, it's like, oh my god, like what's going on? But I'm glad that you've had majority positive experiences with
Yeah.
high profile people.
Absolutely. I think it goes a long way. And I think their the way they act is also like people will act based off a reflection of their life. So if they weren't shown that love, they're gonna act out in that way. So it's a reflection of them, not you. And it's also like you said, that you don't know the demons that they're dealing with, what's going on behind the scenes. And a lot of times, especially even celebrities and people who are influencers, like they are bombarded with like, oh, let me take a photo with you, let me do this, which you can, and they just feel sometimes used. And it's like you got to give them that grace. They're human too, regardless of their status or anything. They have the great, like, you need to give them that respect. You need to give them that space. So it's not even always about how they're acting. It's like you just gotta look at it from their shoes. um
Right. Like,
and I
may
think
I take a photo
mhm,
of you? Like, may I do
yeah.
this, man? Yeah. I was gonna
And
ask you.
sometimes you got to be okay with them saying no, like they have that they have that free will.
Yeah, so and
Have
so
that.
could be having dinner with their family. Like they might not want a photo
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
you
People,
know?
let them be down. Yeah, but go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you though, like a lot of the photos I've seen, it's been them like in the club or like at a party.
Yeah.
So do you ask them beforehand, like, oh, can I take a picture of you like having fun? Or is it
Hmm.
like, you know what I mean? Is it off guard? Um,
Well, a lot of celebs, well, sometimes you may not necessarily have that access to ask them that, like
okay.
especially if you're, if you're in an event space. But when you have 50 other photographers or photographing you at that point in time, it's like, okay, let me also get my shots. And then,
Okay.
sometimes it's like you get the shots and you show them. If they don't like them or anything, you just delete them. It's simple. Like you don't have to always knock at the door. I'll be like,
Okay.
hey, let me in. It's like sometimes the door is kind of already open. You walk in, it's like, hey guys, I'm here. Type thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah, I always
you
wondered
know,
because I was like, that it doesn't look like it looks like Chris Brown's actually laughing. It doesn't look like a photo shoot.
yeah.
So
Uh-uh.
I always wondered like how that went about. And then you show
Oh,
these people like Karrueche and all these people, hey, I took this photo, and if they say yes, that's when you post it.
yeah.
Okay.
If their team or if their manager or anything like is not, they don't approve the photos, 9 times out of 10 they won't go out. But you know, so it's in a lot of cases like if they didn't want to, you know, these people or in general anybody, if I take a picture of them, if yeah they don't approve of it, it's not going up. It's not, you know. And also sometimes like if they didn't want you to take a photo of them, they would be very clear. If they see a flash or like if they have security, even if they don't have security, like the security would say, hey, no pictures please. I think I met Damson, um the
Damson
main character from
Idris.
Snowfall, Damson
Yeah.
Idris. Yeah, I met him and he was he didn't want any photos in the club. So it's like you got to
Okay.
respect that. You got to, that's that's their mo, like that's not their look. Like they don't want to be equated with that, or it's like their management may not want that. So it's no it's not disrespectful. It's just you got to that their image is like a commodity like nowadays. Like
Yes.
you got to protect your image at all costs, protect your brand at all costs. So taking those measures and steps, you have to respect that. But somebody who's first starting out that's really like hyped up to shoot them or whatever, they may not think of that way. So it's like that's why I say you got to build your mindset before the skill set. Because if you don't have that mindset to treat somebody like a human being and like and do everything like rambunctious, like you're gonna be in a bad place and find yourself in a lawsuit or something. You know?
Yeah, your reputation could be ruined. Nobody's gonna want to work with you. People
Mm-hmm.
get blackballed. So and I
Absolutely,
think that's
bro.
why sometimes people we look down on paparazzi, or a lot of people look
Mm-hmm.
down on paparazzi because it's like they oftentimes take pictures of people like very in intimate settings, and it's like that's not that can't be right. Like that can't be
Absolutely.
respectful. If you don't mind sharing, what are some of your career aspirations?
Ooh, I want to work with. Uh, I definitely would love to go on tour. That's not necessarily like a long-term goal. I feel as though it's coming. Um, I'm just really excited to see that come into like, you know, like it was always something that's been in my head. But I just want to see it come to fruition. It's not necessarily like the biggest goal, but it's definitely a stepping stone to where I want to get to. Um,
Okay.
and what's crazy is like, you know, like maybe a year or 2 years ago, I may have not have thought of that to be, you know, even in reach. But, you know, after doing certain things, like I realized their limit doesn't exist. So it's like as I grow, my goals change too. Um,
Right.
yeah, that's like a small stepping stone, career aspirations. I definitely want to be able to like give back. I want to have a foundation that gives back to creatives or anybody just in need of help, you know, mental, you know, physical, social. Some people just need a hug. They don't need money. So it's like I want to be able to like cater to the people who just need help in any sort of facet. So I think I want to have that just as a something that I'm doing as well as just a photography. I want to give back and serve. There's a lot of like people I want to photograph. I will say I'm manifesting a shoot with Bruno Mars, and I want to like work with him.
Wow.
And I definitely feel as though he's one of my big inspirations. And like aspirations though, I feel as though there's a lot I don't know what's coming. Like last time I was on like a talk or interview, I
Okay.
just said things and like, okay, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and a year later it happened. I'm like, what's going
Wow.
on? Like it's strange, and it's like, okay, like I just want to do everything at this point. Like I want to have a company where like I'm renting out gear to people. I want to have a service creative agency where I'm, you know, putting other people on, and you know they're creating and they're inspiring. So it's like I've done that in like a small fashion already. So it's like now I'm just scaling.
Right. And now you're
Um,
closer to where you were before. So all
yeah.
those things could happen. And even the things that,
Hmm.
you don't want to share. I'm sure those things might happen too. It all
Yeah.
takes it all takes time.
And it's
I
almost
see
like
that for
not
you.
it's almost like I don't necessarily, it's not like I don't want to share. Sometimes like right now I'm like filling out everything. Like I'm working with a skincare brand the next day, and then I'm shooting Obama the next day. So it's like, what is my goal? It's like I'm still figuring myself out, and I think this is a perfect time for me to do so. Weed out what I do like, what I don't like, what I feel is right for me. But
Right.
everything's been aligning, like regardless of like if I'm shooting, a Howard grad, or the vice president of the United States, or Big Sean, or
Right.
it all encapsulates under Black excellence. So it's like
Right. And maybe that
I
could be
have,
your niche,
mhm.
for
Yeah,
for right now.
yeah, why not? For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
Mm,
fine. That's fine. And like, I think it's better to be open-minded and have a
yeah.
diverse have diverse projects
Mm,
as opposed to like pigeonholing yourself, and not being
mm,
open-minded, because then
mhm.
that kind of closes you off from certain future job opportunities. So I think that's dope. I think that's dope. And
Thank
you
you,
never
bro.
know. You never know. Like a year from now, let's see where you're at. 6 months from
No,
now, let's see where you're
seriously.
at. So that's,
Uh,
I'm rooting for you, Brian. We all are, for sure.
and likewise, bro. Thank you. Like
Thank
that
you.
means a lot. It's coming. God willing, everything is coming.
Facts, facts. Tyler
Okay.
Mitchell, who made history by
Mm,
photographing Beyonce for Vogue's September 2018 cover, the first Black person to do so in the magazine's 128-year history, told Vogue in an interview back in July of 2020, "Don't be afraid to say no. Often we're told opportunity only knocks once.
mm,
Take this now and don't ask questions. This is how a lot of Black artists end up signing bad contracts and how white
mm,
supremacist systems continue to exist because of terms that don't serve artists. Ask 1,000
mm,
questions and be okay with walking away. I know that's hard to hear because sometimes there are opportunities we feel we need, but we don't need anything that is going to take advantage of our experiences and is not beneficial to us. Now you are young
mm.
yourself, but what is your advice for young Black photographers?"
It's like right now we live in that microwave society where we want everything now. Like everything is like, minute popcorn, minute made rice. Like they don't think about longevity, and they don't think about like, some people are shooting stars, and then there's people who are the sun who constantly, constantly shine. Um, yeah, I don't want to be a shooting star. I don't want to be somebody who just here today and gone tomorrow. God forbid, not in life and death, but you know what I mean. Like as
Yeah,
far
one
as
hit wonder.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like you can be that for sure. Like you can, it's nothing wrong with that. Like you can have a hit and make a living off of that hit for the rest of your life. Don't get me wrong, by all means. But I don't want to be that. I want to be somebody who constantly provides value and serves, and constantly create and have value. Sometimes it's good to be consistently good rather than be seldomly perfect. So I would rather just have
Mm.
an upward, a certain, ascendance into like what I want to be, and like and scale, slowly, rather than to rise to the top and be overwhelmed and fall, flat on my face.
Right.
Um, but it's
Right.
also like, when it just kind of, in regards to your question, I think it's very important that you really figure out what you want out of life, and really weed out what you don't want, and really create that life for yourself. It's
Mm.
times where people are signing these deals because they want everything now, and it's scary, like that, one decision can really put you in a whole different just conversation. But it's also like you gotta like be mindful that delay is not denial. Just because everything, you're delayed from
Yes.
what you want, and just because you're delayed from your goals, or your delay, or God is like slowly holding you back from what you think you want, what he has for you is greater than what you may want. So that delay is not denial. Just wait, just be patient, wait for your time is coming. Don't hate, just wait.
Right. What's next for you? Is there anything you would like to plug
Ooh, well,
that
I
you
I
can
know
plug?
the sooner that I can plug, that's a great one. Honestly, I want to hone in on a lot of different platforms, like, and just lock in on maybe a TikTok and just kind of put up more content on that. I do want to have merch for my own brand, so stay tuned. I also want to
Okay.
throw like a creative hub gala and have something for like, you know everybody to come. Again, I even mentioned my, foundation where I'm serving people. These aren't necessarily like, tomorrow, gonna come out about tomorrow, but stay tuned. Tap in with me on social media and just stay connected with me at Mikael Selassie, all platforms. My website is ethiomike.com. You can, I'm just creating a narrative. I'm planting these seeds now, and one day they'll grow. So just if you would like to continue learning more about me and being a part of my journey, then take a follow. Maybe we can connect and collaborate. So
Awesome.
yeah, that's just
Awesome.
definitely.
So I have some TCP rapid fire questions. You don't have to answer it quickly. I just call it that. But I have 5 questions for you. So the first one, what makes you laugh the most?
I swear, like even the question is funny. I swear, like really spontaneous, quirky moments, like randomly, just like like when I was first shooting, going into places that I necessarily wasn't allowed to be in, and like things like that, like experiences, like funny, crazy experiences.
Adrenaline
Just,
rush.
yeah, like when things don't necessarily go to plan and like how life works, it's like, oh wow, I'm glad we did it. Like, it's like looking back on things. That's what
Right.
makes me laugh. Like, yeah, spontaneous, crazy situations, and of course, I love like a little Cat Williams. Like he makes me laugh. He's my favorite comedian. So we can.
Yeah, he's funny.
I can pitch that in it.
Yeah. 3 things you're grateful for?
God, family, and God, family, just and life.
I love that. Yeah, those are good ones. What would you tell your younger self?
Oh, sometimes you don't need a high IQ. You just need a high initiative. So you may not necessarily be the most, the smartest, the best, but and also I would tell my younger self to document everything. Have a journal, like write down everything. That's a story that one day is going to be so much bigger than what you think it is. Like write down every single day what you did, what you accomplished, who you met, who you talked to, what you did. Just write it down. Like you don't, every day, like just document. Like you see these celebrities, like they're coming out with these documentaries, like they're, Beyonce, you documented her whole, road to performance. So it's like she thought to do that because she knows the value of it. And then even like the documentary of Thriller, like Michael Jackson, he put that made him money back because he put money into Thriller. So if you really, think about it, they're thinking forward. So you have to think forward. So I would tell myself, just create a narrative for yourself. Be good, and find the right people on your team. Like find people who align with what you're trying to do. Don't just kind of just pick anybody out the hat and just like, oh, I want to like be very intentional with everything you do, and be present in your life. So I know this rapid fire and I'm gonna go in, but keep it going.
No, I love that. I love when guests speak more than I do. I that's the whole point. No, I love that. That's dope. Having people on your team that understand you and you're all aligned mentally on what the vision is. I love that. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, what a question. I'm gonna be on a private jet somewhere, headed to a photo shoot or a creative, something I'm directing.
Hey, I'm with it.
Maybe in like Jamaica or some island, maybe just kind of like being in Fashion Week, and also like not just the glitz and the glam, but also I want to like I'm gonna be on a maybe hopefully a private jet back home to give back to my people. Shoot, maybe to even leave the jet back home for a private pilot or somebody just to give back. So it's like I'm big on giving back. So with the glitz and the glam, just know that it's gonna also be service. So I think as I grow, I'm also gonna help other people glow. So
pay it forward, give back. And people, I think sometimes forget where they come from. I think sometimes a lot of notable people that we all know and love, when they get to the top and they forget where they come from, or they forget what really matters in life. And I think that's when we see like child stars going crazy, or just, oh, I thought he was happy, why is he doing this and that? So I think if you ground yourself and have people to help you ground yourself, that can really stop you from, going crazy or acting out for sure. So I like that. I like what you said. And my last rapid fire question, what would you name this current chapter of your life?
Beginning.
Right. I like that. I like that.
Or the pivot, or even not even the pivot. I would say the spark, like
I like that.
or no, not even the spark, the seed. Yeah, the seed. I keep switching it up, but like
no, those are all good. Those are all good.
I feel as though like I planted that seed. It's like I feel like I'm honestly starting to see the seed to grow and like also grow, fruit with it. And like I'm finally being able to like, I'm reaping what I sow. So it's like finally being able to eat the fruit off the tree, and like it just feels very fulfilling. Everything's coming to fruition for me. So
thank you, Mikael, for joining me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Rachel for making this happen. This is a great conversation. Yeah.
Rachel, you're the greatest.
Yes, thank you. You can follow Mikael on Instagram at Mikael Selassie and his photography account at eOptics, EOPTIKX. Check out Mikael's portfolio and all of his work at www.ethiomike.com. Be sure to leave a rating for the Cervantes Podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the Cervantes Podcast YouTube channel, and click the notification bell up top so you're notified whenever I upload a new episode. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one.
We're going out.